Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are often considered to be two of the best, if not the best, platformers in the history of video games. Nowadays, when people talk about Mario Galaxy, they consider the two games as part of one big package. That's why, with the release of the new Galaxy 1 plus 2 remaster for the Switch, the question naturally came to mind. Which of these two behemoths of the gaming world is actually better? Today, we're going to find out the answer, at least in my opinion. We'll go through each category, score both games from 0 to 100, and see which one comes out on top to crown the ultimate winner. Let's dive in. Super Mario Galaxy is one of the few 3D Mario games with a somewhat fleshed out story. The setup is the familiar Peach kidnapping, but this time we meet Rosalina, a new face in the series, who lends us her spaceship and guides us on our journey to rescue Peach from Bowser. Through her storybook, revealed bit by bit, we learn she was a lonely girl who took care of the Lumas and eventually became their cosmic guardian. We can really feel the sense of progression. When Mario first arrives at the Comet Observatory, it's mostly inactive. We gradually power it back up by collecting run stars from Bowser's reactors. Watching the observatory come to life is immersive on its own, and the hub theme builds an intensity alongside it, which is a subtle but powerful touch. The observatory never feels like just a menu. It feels like a living storybook with each new dome unlocking a new chapter. Galaxy also leans into exploration, with some galaxies offering as many as 7 stars to collect. What really sells the immersion is how those worlds evolve each time we return. Small changes hint at sub-stories unfolding while Mario is away, which makes the universe feel genuinely alive. Super Mario Galaxy 2 handles things very differently. The story is minimal, and even though the setup is the same, Rosalina is largely absent. Instead, we're accompanied by Luba, a big purple Luma who helps us chase Bowser to the center of the universe aboard his Grand Star power ship. Starship Mario feels somewhat like a springboard. It exists to launch us into levels fast, with almost no narrative glue between stops. It's really mood versus momentum. One hub invites us to linger, the other pushes us to move. The Starship Mario is much smaller than the Comet Observatory, and even though it's packed with NPCs by the endgame, it doesn't feel nearly as magical as the first hub. Galaxy 2's galaxies also don't overstay their welcome. They have fewer stars each, but there are many more of them. On one hand, that keeps the game feeling fresh. On the other, individual galaxies feel less immersive because we don't spend as much time in each one to uncover their secrets. The two games take very different approaches to Mario's adventure in space. Galaxy 1 has this constant feeling of mystery and curiosity, whereas in Galaxy 2 we're always in the middle of the action. You can feel it right from the get-go. Galaxy 1 starts with a magical little chase with star bunnies that turn out to be Lumas, but Galaxy 2 skips all that and drops Mario straight into Sky Station Galaxy. The soundtracks make the contrast even clearer. Galaxy 1 sets the mood with its breathtaking, atmospheric score, and Galaxy 2 comes in swinging with some of the most energetic music the series has ever had. Overall, even though both games have equally great music, Galaxy 1's structure creates an immersive experience that Galaxy 2 doesn't match in the same way, both in gameplay and in story. I'm giving Galaxy 1 90 points and Galaxy 2 70 points. When it comes to level design, Galaxy has a cohesive structure throughout each galaxy that tends to fit its setting, while Galaxy 2 is snappier and more engaging. Galaxy 2's strength is definitely the pacing. Most stars introduce one idea and gradually escalate it within the stage, then wrap it up before it starts getting stale. The camera and planet chaining feel very dynamic and linear, keeping us on our toes, and retries are also often in generous enough spots to get us back into the action right away. Great examples include Beat Block and Boulder Bowl in my opinion. As I said previously, Galaxy 1 relies on cohesion for the most part. Stars usually send us back to the same place but with a new objective. That's why, instead of feeling like a pre-made course, it tends to be closer to a location we get to explore in different ways each time. This lower rhythm enhances the world building aspect, even if it means set pieces are spaced further apart. Good Egg and Gusty Garden are probably the best examples of gradual over time world development. The way the games handle hidden stars is also slightly different. In Galaxy 2, a good chunk of them are simply gated behind hungry Lumas that are in plain sight most of the times, so the secret often boils down to bring enough coins and you're in. It is true that the newly added coin Lumas pose a bigger challenge compared to Starbit Lumas, since upon death all the coins accumulated up to that point are lost, but it still feels a bit telegraphed. In Galaxy 1, there are more secrets tucked into alternate routes and off-camera platforms, with some occasional hungry Lumas. This makes Galaxy 1's hidden stars feel way more organic and better concealed, which goes really well with its exploratory vibe. In Galaxy 2, we also find the newly added Comet medals, which do make up for the somewhat lazily handled hidden stars. These are new collectibles that are always present in the first stage of each galaxy, although whether they're hidden or in plain sight is usually a toss-up. As the name implies, unlike in Galaxy 1 where prankster comets spawn based on the game's progression, they allow for a prankster comet to spawn in the galaxy where the coin was collected. The comet challenges themselves work differently across the two games. In Galaxy 1, comet types are clearly labeled and color-coded before you enter the mission, so you always know what you're getting into. Speedy sets a time limit to finish the stage. Daredevil caps the HP at 1. Cosmic is a race against a Mario clone controlled by the AI. Fast Foe is self-explanatory. And the post-game purple ones have us collecting 100 purple coins, usually within a set time limit. Galaxy 2 keeps most of these and gets rid of the labels. It adds Rump Comets, which are timed enemy clear challenges, and most importantly, Cosmic Clone Comets, which have shadow clones mirror your path and chase you, so you have to route cleanly and avoid backtracking. And Double Time Comets, that as stage cycles run much faster, making timing windows shrink significantly. These two make for extremely creative but hard challenges, like slowly kiting the clones in chump work while getting the golden chump, and keeping up with the block's breakneck swap speed in beat block. Galaxy 2 essentially takes an already good formula from Galaxy 1 and improves upon it. Personally, I'm a big fan of Galaxy 2's platforming flow, but I also love Galaxy 1's exploration-driven structure. For me, Galaxy 2 barely edges it. I'm giving Galaxy 1 90 points and Galaxy 2 95 points. Gimmicks. By gimmicks, I mean all the power-ups plus Yoshi in Galaxy 2 and the special missions like Chimp Score challenges, the robot tasks, and the bird races. Galaxy 1's gimmicks are fun and fit really well thematically within the stages, since, as I said up to this point, the game strives for cohesion. But I feel like for the most part some of them could have used a little touch-up. B Mario is great for exploring, but it also limits all of our movement options, which kind of disrupts the flow of the stage sometimes. Coil Mario can also feel clunky at times, and climbing sections can be really annoying as the high bounce input is way tighter than it seems, resulting in some unwanted slips. There's also the red star that just kinda exists. I have no idea why it's so underutilized. It doesn't even return in Galaxy 2. Galaxy 1's gimmicks sell the theme of each place really well, but they sometimes feel like one-time passes to get to the next section. Galaxy 2 adds power-ups and gimmicks that have levels designed around them, and in my opinion feel overall better to use. Especially, I'd argue Cloud Mario is probably the best one, giving the player the most freedom of movement out of any power-up, letting us discover faster or more creative ways to beat the levels it stars in. The obvious highlight is Yoshi though. He feels like a breath of fresh air, equipping us with not only a whole new moveset, but also 3 exclusive power-ups. The Dash Pepper for uphill sprints and dashing around the map, the Blimp Fruit for vertical float sections, and the Bulb Berry to reveal hidden paths. Yoshi was a greatly welcome addition, and it's safe to say that the levels that feature him are easily some of the best in Galaxy 2. On top of that, we also get new fun but really hard minigames like the Chimp Score challenges, the Gear Mode tasks, and the Floodzard races, filling the game with innovation. I'd also argue Galaxy 2 does a better job at handling returning power-ups, especially B Mario in stages like Honey Bloom and Honey Hop that push vertical climbs and tighter hazards with less downtime and more actual platforming. Coil Mario is clunky in this game too in my opinion, but the way it's integrated in Chumpworks works definitely better compared to how it was used in Galaxy 1. Galaxy 2 overall takes this category by a wide margin. The gimmicks are tightly implemented in the platforming loop, whereas in Galaxy 1, they're somewhat clunky to use, albeit being quite iconic. I'm giving Galaxy 1 75 points, and Galaxy 2 90 points. This one isn't easy. To be honest, in my opinion, boss fights are pretty much the weakest aspect of these two titles. Galaxy 1 has extremely high highs, but also really low lows, whereas Galaxy 2 has fewer peaks but a more consistently solid roster. Galaxy 1's boss fights often feel cinematic, with large arenas and easy to read patterns. Even then, the best ones still test us hard. I'd say Bouldergeist is the standout. In particular, its Daredevil run is probably the toughest fight the game has to offer. Other boss fights like Mega Leg, which I consider to be my personal favorite from Galaxy 1, Kingfin and Tarantox are great at selling the space epic vibe Galaxy is always trying to deliver, even though they're all quite easy to beat. In Galaxy 2, the game is quick to tell us that the difficulty is being cranked up a notch, as we come across Gobblegut not too far in the game. His fiery version is an especially tough fight. In general, Galaxy 2's fights feel more mechanically engaging. Boomsday, for example, makes great use of the Cloud Flower and results in a really fun fight that rewards good timing and vertical routing. But that doesn't mean that they necessarily lack in presentation. For me, Mega Hammer out of both games proves itself to be the best boss fight by far and away, having both a great presentation and a super satisfying moveset to maneuver around. What really tips the balance towards Galaxy 2 for me is the final Bowser fight. I know this is a hot take, but I don't think Galaxy 1 does justice to Bowser. Execution-wise, the fight is great, and arguably better than Galaxy 2's. The way it has us use many different gimmicks throughout the fight makes it feel varied and engaging. But Bowser doesn't feel as powerful as he should, getting easily knocked around by Mario throughout the entire fight. It feels like he is never a threat to begin with. Galaxy 2 though, absolutely nails the vibe for me. The fact that we're fighting a gigantic Bowser already makes it feel intimidating enough, but his attacks also feel way more threatening. Whether it be him trying to squash us with his massive fists, or by shooting literal meteors at us, it keeps Mario on his toes throughout the entire fight. To top it all off, he even gets a second phase, which gameplay-wise isn't anything groundbreaking, but it's pure spectacle, with the big guy chasing us down trying to take us out at any cost. Great boss fight. Galaxy 2 takes this category for me. I'm giving Galaxy 1 65 points, and Galaxy 2 75 points. The culmination of the protagonist's journey is definitely one of the most important aspects when rating a game. When it comes to these two, there is a clear-cut winner. Galaxy 2's ending is on brand with its identity. Giant Bowser goes down, the cast celebrates, Rosalina appears for a moment, and we roll into an upbeat credits sequence. It's a light celebratory closer, but it falls short next to Galaxy 1. Galaxy 1's finale is about how death turns into renewal. As Bowser's reactor collapses into a black hole, the Lumas dive in. At first, it reads as sacrifice, Then the music softens from chaos to a lullaby. We hear the baby stars crying, and Rosalina explains that endings become beginnings. The Lumas have seeded a new cosmos. We transition to the Star Festival to show a world reborn, not reset nor erased. Rosalina stands outside it all, the cosmic caretaker, reminding us that endings become beginnings, and that wonder comes from that cycle. Needless to say, Galaxy 1 takes this category by a landslide. I'm giving Galaxy 1 95 points, and Galaxy 2 65 points. After we beat Bowser the first time, both games have us collect 120 stars and beat Bowser again. But that's where the two pause games really diverge. In Galaxy 1, we unlock Luigi as a separate save file. He's a bit faster, jumps a bit higher, and has slipperier traction, which makes him trickier to control. But that's essentially it. We replay the entire game as Luigi. After collecting 120 stars with him as well, we unlock the grand finale Galaxy, the 121st star, which can be grabbed with either character. Super Mario Galaxy 2 adds 120 green stars hidden throughout the galaxies we already visited. They're placed to make us engage with levels differently, using sound or visual cues, creative routing, and tighter platforming, so each green star feels fresh even in familiar spaces. After reaching 240 total stars, we unlock Grandmaster Galaxy, a true capstone that tests everything we've learned. It's extremely challenging but hugely rewarding. The winner here is clear. Galaxy 1's Grand Finale Galaxy is a warm, sentimental victory lap, but it doesn't make up for the 120 stars we have to replay as Luigi. Galaxy 2's boss game adds a whole new layer to the levels we know, then tops it off with a great final galaxy. For me, Galaxy 2 easily takes this category. I'm giving 65 points to Galaxy 1 and 80 points to Galaxy 2. Albeit feeling extremely responsive for how old these two games are, there are still a few issues and differences that I'd like to point out. First, what's flat out bad in both games? Underwater sections. If someone told you that these games released in 2025, you might believe them, until you dive. In Galaxy 1, movement is super sluggish. You can't turn the camera most of the time, and the controls are inverted underwater. At least, spamming the spin gives us a speed boost to go much faster and shorten the pain. Galaxy 2 fixes some of that. The camera behaves normally and you get a bit more freedom to turn it. The trade-off is that you can't spam spin for more speed, so water areas end up feeling slower overall even though we have more control. Galaxy 2 also improves first-person view. In Galaxy 1, first person is locked to the front 180 degrees. If we wanted to look behind us, we had to exit first person, turn in third person, then re-enter first person. Galaxy 2 gives us a full 360 degree first person, which is genuinely useful for spotting collectibles like comet medals or green stars. Finally, probably the most noticeable and important change Galaxy 2 implements is the existence of checkpoints, which makes respawns predictable and reduces frustration. In Galaxy 1, where and how you'd respawn wasn't always intuitive. As expected from a sequel, Galaxy 2 takes the edge in this category. I'm giving Galaxy 1 70 points, and Galaxy 2 80 points. For this category, we're asking two things. What did each game change, and what did it leave behind for future platformers? Galaxy 1 revolutionized the genre. It reimagined 3D platforming around gravity and curvature, with planets of every shape, and clear ideas that let us hop from one to the next without ever breaking the rhythm. It also set a new bar for presentation. The first Mario game with a fully orchestral score and a hub that tells a story, tying progression, music, and atmosphere into a single identity. It's the game people point to when talking about wonder, scale, and that feeling of discovery that pulls you in. Galaxy 2 had to prove itself worthy of being a sequel to arguably one of the greatest games ever, and somehow it delivered. This game proves a sequel can focus on expanding the same idea and still somehow feel fresh. It shifts to a world map, raises the density of different ideas, and tightens the teach-escalate remix loop in almost every galaxy. Green Stars reinvent the postgame as a new way to read levels. Galaxy 2 showed how to build levels around power-ups and movement tech, making the refinement feel like innovation. These two games are both insanely influential. One showed a new possibility for 3D Mario platforming, and the sequel showed just how far this idea could be pushed. It's close, but for me, Galaxy 1 takes it here. I'm giving Galaxy 1 100 points and Galaxy 2 90 points. We've now ranked every single aspect of these games, so it's time to add up the numbers and see who takes it. With a score of 650 to 645, Super Mario Galaxy 1 barely edges out Galaxy 2 and takes the crown for me. Funnily enough, when I started making the script for this video, I couldn't pick a clear winner. I grew up with Galaxy 2, so I had to set that bias aside. And honestly, there isn't a truly objective answer here. As a game moment to moment, Galaxy 2 often feels better and keeps you moving. But Galaxy 1 is something else entirely. A cinematic experience you get to play through. That's why overall, I consider Galaxy 1 the better experience. Welcome to the end of the video. If you've reached this point, just know I'm very thankful for you watching up to this point. I wanted to announce that I'm rolling out a milestone system to this channel that will see me do a challenge run of the hinted game you'll see on screen with every milestone reached. If you've been enjoying the content and want to see me cook up ridiculous strategies to beat my own restrictions like I did in the last video, make sure to subscribe and let's hit the next milestone. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.